Okay, in order to set up my Photoshop document to get ready to rotoscope layer by layer, first I'm going to set my workspace. I'm going to change it. The default is usually essential. I'm going to change it to motion. Yours will be in its original condition, which will look like this. And I don't need these couple of tabs here, so I'm going to go ahead and control or right click on the tab and then say close this whole tab group. I want to leave my layers, but I want to get rid of this excess stuff. And then I can save my workspace by going to, workspace, new workspace. So animation, I already have an animation, so I'll call this animation 2 and save. So now if I want to switch back and forth, I can go into a different workspace and I can always come back to my saved animation workspace. And if I want to get back to the default animation workspace, I can go back to, the default motion. I can go back to motion, and then I go to workspace and I reset motion back to what the defaults were. But I like it like this. Next, I want to bring in my video footage that I'm going to use in order to make this animation. So I'm going to go to File, Import, Video Frames to Layers. So that's File, Import, Video Frames to Layers. And I'm going to locate the file that I want to use. And I'm going to say Open. And that wasn't the right one, so let me try this again. File, Import, Video Frames to Layers. All right, I'll go ahead and do this one. Say Open. And then I can scrub back and forth using the play button to see how much I want to capture. And in the case of a walk cycle, as we discussed in class, I want to get 2 full cycles. So if she starts with her feet apart, then takes one leg, notice that that's the leg that's closest to us as the viewer, and brings that forward. Now that's only half a walk cycle. She brought that back leg forward. That's it. So if we were to loop this, she's just going to keep kind of going back and forth. So let's say I want to start the walk cycle with feet apart, and I'm going to bring my start marker. This is what it's going to edit the frames down to. I'm going to bring that up to the play button. And then I'm going to watch her walk and put 1 foot forward and then 2. And I'll bring my out marker over here and set it there. And then I just want to double check this, see if I got it right. Okay, so that leg that's closest to us is forward, and the leg that's further away is coming up behind that leg, and now it goes forward. And then I want to end up right back where I started from. So in theory, this should look just like this. But you need to be careful because this looks a lot like it. It's just that a different leg is what's forward. So I want that leg closest to me forward and start with the leg closest to me forward. Okay, so that has my in and out points. Now, if I were to just import this range, most likely this video was shot at 24 frames per second. So let's see what happens. I say make frame animation, and I bring it in. And it's going to put in every single frame that was in that video, which comes out to 97. So I happen to know that for a walk cycle, what you really want to get a really nice walk cycle is 16 frames. Now in class we did, depending on which year you're watching this, we did 8 cycles, but if I was doing this for my final animation, I'm going to want 16. So what I can do is open up my calculator and say 97 divided by 16. So it's about 6 frames that I want to skip. So if 16 times 6 equals 97, I'm going to go back to File, Import, and I'm going to do this a second time. And don't worry, each time it opens, it starts a whole new document. So locate that animation again. Okay, there it is. Bring up that dialog box. And unfortunately, it didn't save my preset before, so there's the feet apart in button. And 1 step, 2 steps. Okay, and then you'll double check that. So now I've got that amount and limit to every 6 and say OK. So that gave me, somehow must have been a little bit off in my calculation, it gave me 19 layers. Let me try that one more time. It may be that I selected a slightly wider in to out point. So I can come back and I can redo this, or I can just kind of look at my layers and go, okay, maybe I selected a few too many, so I could probably delete this first one and compare it to the last one. She moved a little bit. I don't need quite a duplicate, so let me get rid of that one. And okay, so that's going to work. So 18 is fine, I can handle that. If you really think you can't, then you can go back and adjust it to 7 frames, and that'll get you a little bit less. So this sets up the document so that I have all of my layers, and I can actually go ahead and play this and see it in real time. And if I need to slow down or speed up how fast this plays, I'm going to click on the first frame, scroll over, hold down Shift, click on the last frame, and go to the drop down here. And if I say no delay, that's how it plays. And if I were to slow it down, that's probably a little bit too slow, but I can see what the steps are here. Okay, and then we come back, we'll talk about setting this up for tracing.